Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Queers of Time podcast.
I'm Matt.
I'm James.
I'm Kenny.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast to talk about all the gay stuff in the Wheel of Time.
Because we're gay and we like the Wheel of Time.
Welcome to the Queers of Time podcast. In this episode, we're going to continue our conversation about pillow friends from the previous episode. Specifically, we're going to talk about the pillow friends that we do see in the series, how we feel about what we do get to see, and our hopes for how this will translate in the show. I know that Camille has a lot of thoughts on this, so let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah, indeed, I do have a lot to say on that. So first thing, last episode we mentioned that quote about having one third to one half of Aes Sedai being queer, but we don't really see that. We get about 260 named Aes Sedais in the book, but overall we got 4 confirmed pedo friendship, and that's it. We have one that I'm adding as a bonus because it's still Tower related, but overall we get only 4 confirmed relationship. We get Moraine and Swan that we all know about. We get Eleda and Medani that we get to discover a bit later on in the series. We get 2 persons that have no fucking idea who they are anymore, like Kiruna and Bera. I was looking into their wiki page and I do not remember who exactly they are. And we get Sian, S-E-A-I-N-E.
One of the S names, yes.
One of the S name.
One
and
of the
Devara.
many S names.
So that's the 4 main that I know of, that we know of, that is known. And we, as a bonus, I also added Nicola and Arena, even if Arena is technically not a female channeler. How do we go from there? Because there's a bunch of things to say about each of them.
We can go through each of them because maybe we save Moraine and Suan for the end because that's the one that we have the most to say about.
And can probably devote an entire episode to.
Oh,
yes.
I mean, multiple episodes, I imagine.
Multiple episodes, yes.
Okay.
So maybe we can start with Eleda and Medani, which I think is the most problematic one over the 4, mostly because they were pedo friends as novices, and we can assume that the pedo friendship stopped when Eleda became accepted, because it takes quite a few years for Medani to catch up and become accepted, and I think by that time Eleda has already become an Aes Sedai. In the main series, too, that relationship became relevant again when Medani is forced to use this old relationship in order to get closer to Eleda. Eleda is also aware of it, and she also plays with her, kind of. And it's not awesome. Anyone has any thought of that?
No, I think it's in the quote regarding their relationship. It is just very weird how their entire relationship is used for information.
Yeah.
And specifically the Rebel Aes Sedai, when they sent Medani.
I think so,
I think
that's, it sounds right.
That's how I'm going to say it. It's going to be Medani. When they send her, they were aware of that relationship and they were hoping to use that against, or to use that to get information from Elida. And I'm like, that's super shady.
Yeah.
And then Elida flips it and is like, yeah, actually, maybe I will use that because that would be great to twist it around. And it's just really fucked.
Yeah. I mean, my thing with it is, if there had been positive queer relationships, positive examples of queer relationships between 2 women throughout the series, if there had been multiple of them, I wouldn't have minded this as much,
right?
And also if Medani had been I think a more willing participant in this whole plot, they're, because that sort of dynamic could be I understand the intrigue of it, where they're both trying to get, they have this this past together and they're both trying to get information from each other, but when you have when you don't really have any other like queer relationships between two women throughout the series, this is kind of glaring in its fucked upness. And it's unfortunate because I think it had the potential to be like, you know, an intriguing dynamic if things were a little bit different.
I agree with that in the sense that it's that dynamic itself is a dynamic you can find in other like movies, romance,
Absolutely.
like books and this kind of thing. It happens even for straight relationship, for queer relationship, and I think it would have been very interesting to see that for queer relationship because it's something it's a dynamic you usually see with like straight relationship. But yeah, we don't have a lot of other relationship, and it's Aleida, which is a character that
I was just gonna say, I'm like, it's also super fucked just because it's Aleida. And I'm reading through the quote from Knife of Dreams now that's talking about when Maidani was in the room and then left, and it says, "You won't mind leaving us, Maidani?" Even the smile Aleida directed at the yellow-haired woman was predatory. And then Maidani leaves the room, and she scurried from the room, breathing hard, her eyes wide. And I'm just like, Aleida is a psycho. And I try not to like throw those words around too like haphazardly, but girl, run.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, Aleida is a character that I appreciate her addition to the series. Obviously I do not agree with any of her activities, but I appreciate her addition because like it goes
at Queers of Time, we do not endorse Aleida's activities.
No endorsement whatsoever.
Speak for yourself.
I can still fix her, but you know, no endorsement whatsoever. But I appreciate that she's, you know, she is an example of like not all of the bad characters are dark friends, and she is someone who like she genuinely believes what she is doing is the correct thing and the correct course of action, and she is just unbelievably like
unbelievably
super wrong.
Dumb.
Yes, like dumb,
incompetent.
Wrong, incompetent, all of the things. And so I appreciate her character in the series, but I absolutely agree with you, James. Like it's the fact that it's Aleida, it's fucked up.
It's fucked up, especially considering that we don't have a lot of queer characters. There's two characters that are obviously queer, and it's Galina and Aleida, and both are like the bad, mean lesbian stereotype. And that sucks.
Listen, I love a mean lesbian. Don't get me wrong, but not like this.
I think it would have been a much more interesting dynamic I agree with Kat, like had there been actual queer representation with women in the series. And, you know, that happens when you get better representation. Like, you know, take the bury your gays trope. If you have a cast of 6 on a TV show and one's gay and that one dies off, I mean, that's bury your gays. But if literally every cast member is gay or queer, then a character dying is not necessarily bury your gays. And it's the same here with this trope. It's just unfortunate that a potentially interesting pairing and lovers to enemies dynamic was taken this direction with these two particular characters.
Yeah. And like, once again, I mean, I think it unfortunately comes up a number of times in a number of different relationships throughout the series, but like consent is definitely, I mean, consent is very much of an issue here because
big problem here.
Yeah, like it's not Maidani's choice to do it. She's told to do it. And I think there are, you know, in the quote that James read, it's obvious she is deeply uncomfortable with this.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that Maidani is like super happy with her life.
No.
When she gets sent by the rebels back to Tarvalon.
It's very fucked up. I'm sorry to say. There's nothing.
And I mean, it seems like that's kind of their relationship between, I mean, I don't know, what is better for you to have that kind of like fucked up relationship, or for you to like grow out of being gay? Because it seems like the other option here.
Yeah.
When we are looking at the other type of pillow friendship, it's literally either you grow out of it or you're the mean lesbian who enjoys that power on other people, because that's also that Elida really enjoy having this power over Medani and being able to make her suffer in that way.
Yeah.
And that's also something we can find with like Galina, who also had tendency of grooming.
Yeah, I'm saying again, like there's this BDSM thing going on that I just is very, very prevalent. But it is mentioned several times, like, I don't want to repeat more of the quotes, but several times that like this is just a way for girls to get through the troubles of being a novice and unaccepted, and they're expected to grow out of it. But I don't think they're expected to grow out of it because it's viewed as like the sexual thing is weird. I think they're expected to grow out of it because they're Aes Sedai and they literally have to save the world.
Yeah.
They don't have time for literally anything. Like they don't, that's just, it's not because it's a gay relationship that they have to give it up. It's because it's a relationship.
Yeah.
And also, like, when he talks about, in some of those quotes, when he talks about growing out of those relationships, he also mentions a lot that sometimes it's just because it was two novices and one get raised to accepted and not the other, or there were two accepted and one get raised to Aes Sedai but not the other. And in those situations, I think it's actually very decent to make the relationship stop, because you'll be like a
power
teacher
imbalance.
and a student, and that's a fucked up relationship too.
Yeah.
There's this paradox where in that situation it feels like the idea of the power dynamic, you have to be careful about it. It's nice that he thought about that, but at the same time it's a bit disappointing because once both are Aes Sedai or once both are accepted, why not start the relationship again?
Yeah, like it's like there were threads that he started and then didn't continue for whatever reason, because like you said, Camille, like once they're both Aes Sedai, why not continue the relationship? Why not?
I mean, I just think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they have literally, like, the population of Aes Sedai is so low that they each have so much to do in the world. So I don't think they just have time for it, which is really frustrating because why do they have to sacrifice that?
Right.
Just to
I
save the
will
world?
just say that from experience, a low population of lesbian in a group does not mean there's not going to be relationship and drama associated.
No, and I mean, I guarantee you there was some shit that went down in the tower.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I want to see a Riverdale version of
I would love
Tarvalon. I want to see that hard.
Are you kidding me? I would love that. Oh my god.
Just a CW.
I hope we get flashbacks on the show of like, you know, like
Spankings.
Moraine. Well, I mean, obviously.
Look, I insulted RJ a lot in the last episode, so I am making up for it by channeling him and talking about spanking. My way of honoring him.
I did wanted to mention, so since we were talking about the difference in power dynamic in relationship, so there is a wiki pages about pedo friend, and one of the known pedo friendship that I haven't put here because I don't think it's actually confirmed, it's between Galina and Tarna, which is a red sisters that I think she becomes the keeper of Elida at some point after Alvirin, something like that.
Tarna,
yes.
Yeah.
And because so Galina is actually, I think, the only known Aes Sedai who proposed another Aes Sedai to start a pedo friendship, and that was with Tarna. But they never were actually pedo friend because Galina basically got raised 73 years before Tarna even arrived at the tower, so there was no way that the timeline would match.
Holy shit.
And and the power dynamic is already very weird because basically Galina asked Tarna right after Tarna got raised. So you had the age difference. You also had that Tarna basically got beaten up by Galina in order to break a block.
Right.
So that's one of the example of, it's not a pillow friendship that happened, but it's a pillow friendship that was tried. And why?
It's that's just like your weird, sexy aunt coming to proposition you when you turn 18.
Oh no!
It's basically that.
I mean, like it's you're not wrong, and it's like it's not good. It's gross.
It is very predatory.
Yeah.
But again, that ties in with the other, like that tracks with as much depth as Galena is given as a sexual character.
Yes.
Yeah. Galena is so that's the reason why Balefire.
I get it.
It makes sense.
Kiruna and Bera, I mean, I don't really know. I recognize them as names in the Wheel of Time.
I don't.
I think it's one of the sisters that were at Dumas Vale. I think they swore fealty to Rand there.
Okay. So she's Karuna is of the Green Aja. I'm
Both
literally
both
just
green.
on the wiki. They're both green. Okay.
And basically their relationship kind of mirrors Moraine and Swan in the sense that one was a noble, the other a commoner. Both joined the same Aja. And I think they were pretty close in terms of years of novice and accepted. I'm not entirely sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But the relationship stopped right after they became Aes Sedai, and after that they stayed very close friends. But they only had relationship with men after being raised as Aes Sedai. So there's really this idea of they grew out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now that they can sleep with men, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's like, and I mean, I kind of want to leave some of this for part 3, but like compulsory heterosexuality, I think, is something that plays a role in this.
It is definitely there.
Yeah, it's like again, we can talk about it more in depth a little bit later, but like I think it definitely plays a role in this, and it's like it's this weird sort of line that like this sort of balancing act between like bi erasure but also compulsory heterosexuality, and it's it's complicated. And I like when we talk about pillow friends, like somewhat people fall on one side or the other, and sometimes it's both.
Right.
Sometimes two things can be true, and I think this is one of those cases where, like, bi erasure is definitely something that occurs throughout the series, but also compulsory heterosexuality is it absolutely plays a role in this. And I think like from that quote alone about Karuna and Bera, like, they both went on to have exclusively liked men after becoming Aes Sedai. It's just
it's also it's something that I don't get. Like, how can you sleep with someone for years?
Yeah.
And consider yourself as straight?
Because it was just for stress relief. It's like a stress ball. It's a stress. Nope, I'm not going to say that. Never mind.
Were you going to say?
I was going to say it's a stress pussy.
It's a stress pussy. Yeah.
That is not going to be the title of the episode.
But please, can we?
I don't know. I think it's a good. Well, we'll be demonetized. Not that we're monetized to begin with, but
that's true.
It's a stress pussy.
It's a stress pussy.
Stress pussy.
It's not a stress ball. It's a stress pussy. Camille, I see you over there being like, I have so many regrets. I don't have any opinions on Cien and Pavara.
Oh, I have a lot.
I have a lot too.
Okay, good. Let's take it away because I know nothing. We can,
You go first, Camille.
In terms of timeline, Peva arrived at the White Tower a year before Cien, and they both got raised the same year. So I think one of the two got raised as accepted a year before the other. But basically, they had many years in common as novice and accepted, at least 9 years. We don't know how long the pillow friendship lasted, but they were definitely best friends very close friend and a pillow friend during that time. However, Pevara chose the Red Aja, and as a member of the Red Aja, she was forced to break off any sort of friendship she may have with anyone from another Aja. So that was it for them for like many decades. And then the Black Aja Hunters thing in the tower happens. And I don't remember which, I think it's Peva that got asked to look for something. Probably for the Furet at first, but she understood that as a Black Aja, and then she talked to Cien so they could start the hunt together.
Other way around. I'm just
Other
looking
way
through
around.
So Cien was given the task of searching for...
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't remember which one was given the task to. But by the way, they get closer again at that time. Sadly, no more, but you definitely feels like their friendship was something they both missed.
Yeah.
And then it just disappeared off the topic. Because Pevara got sent to the Black Tower, and then she had the whole deal with Androl. And a lot of people like Androl character. I just feel it's a bit sad that it was with Pevara.
Yeah.
Because, it's a bit of a missed opportunity there.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like it would have been such a beautiful story. Like, it had... it had the potential. And I kind of thought that kind of like hoping against all hope that was where it might be going. And then, of course, it didn't, didn't turn out that way at all. But, I mean, weirdly enough, theirs is, I think, outside of Moraine and Swan, like, theirs is the most positive relationship that we see of between two women who used to be pillow friends and who obviously still care very deeply for each other and are, like, united for the latter half of the series in this, like, really noble task of hunting down the Black Aja. And it's, I don't know, it's, I just think it was, I agree, Camille, it was a really missed opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I hope we get that in the show, because
Me too.
Especially with they have to condense characters and things like that. We need like positive Red Aja representation first of all, and I think this would be like the absolute perfect place to do it, and also get some of that not course correction of the original material, but well, I guess course correction is probably...
I think that's the best way to...
It probably is the best way to put it. We don't know what RJ intended for those two, at least not to my knowledge.
I mean, I don't think he intended anything, because Pevara leaving for the Black Tower happened in Knife of Dream, I think. So definitely the storyline between Pevara and Cien as Black Aja Hunter was over by that time. What did I want to say? One thing is, so it's not embarrassing, but it's a bit weird in a sense that, yes, I would have liked Pevara and Cien to get closer again. At the same time, I know a lot of people like Androl and the relationship he has with Pevara, so I know that if that were to happen, this would be a big problem in the fandom, and I don't really want to fight with the fandom on general. But yeah, it's a bit complicated. And at the same time, I'm going to be honest, I don't really like Androl. He's a fun character, I think, on the read. But my main problem with Androl is that I think he took too much space towards the end when I was hoping to get a bit more for the original characters.
Right.
It is what it is. But I understand why Androl is there, so...
Yeah, I will say, like, if someone is attached to Androl and Pevara, like, I disagree, but I can get it. I do not understand the people that are really simping hard for Tom and Moraine.
Oh my God. I was just... You took the words out of my mouth, Matt.
It's just so bad. Like, I would rather... If we had to sacrifice a same-sex relationship, I would rather it be Pevara and putting her with Androl, because, God help me, even show Tom, no ma'am.
So fun fact, like, since we were talking about Pevara and Cien, not really related, but Cien has a very close friend called Talini Minli, which is a black sister who was super jealous of Cien's friendship with Pevara.
Oh, yes.
But the companion had to precise it was not a sexual thing. I'm like, are you sure about that? Are you in denial, girl? That happens. But, being jealous of someone else's partner.
Right. I'm like, sometimes I'm jealous and I don't realize it's a sexual thing, but it's definitely a sexual thing.
Absolutely.
Girl, I'm sorry. I have things to tell you.
That's like that's a coming to Jesus moment. That is no, let's sit down and talk.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know. I don't have the same. I know that people love Pavara. Yeah. I don't have a strong attachment to her, but on my reread, I am going to try and see what it is about her that everyone loves.
I love that she's a red sister that is actually good.
Yeah.
Because
I like that part of her.
There's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
And the red Aja has a bad reputation, and it would be nice to see a bit more diversity in that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because the red Aja is the largest Aja in the White Tower, and yet we only see the evil ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for Pavara.
It's the same thing with the gays. They are 50% of the tower, and we only see the worst.
We only see the worst. The meanest lesbians.
Let's go to the nicest lesbians in the world that we aren't going to devote the entire episode to, but we can touch on. Moraine and Suan.
My two moms, yes.
The love of my life.
Which one? Just yes, both of them?
Yes.
Both of them. I don't even want them for myself. I just want them together and just to look at them and like, oh, you're so cute. I love so you guys.
Yeah, I know. I just want them to be happy. That's all. That's I don't know.
It's I will never not be bitter about their book ending, but whatever.
Yeah.
This kind of reinforces the whole, it's not that they have to give it up because they're a same-sex couple. It's that they have to give it up because Moraine is literally going to save the goddamn world.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it, but I hate it.
I know. Yeah. And I think the show found a really good way of balancing both of those things because it doesn't diminish their romantic relationship. If any, I mean, I think that the last scene between Swan and Moraine in the hall, in the Sitters Hall, like it's one of the most beautiful scenes of the entire first season. And it's because they established that like really, really deep and loving foundation between the two of them. And I think the show found a good way of balancing like, yes, we love each other. It would be great if we could run away and just be together, but we also have committed to this thing and we are going to do it. And even if that comes at the price of like, in this life or the next is the line. And I think the show found a good way of sort of taking the sting out of how things end for them.
Right. Because that's what I'm like, I'm not concerned about it. But what happens if the same thing happens in the books where they don't, where Suan dies? And I'm just like, if that happens, we will at least have had the lovely marriage ceremony.
Yeah.
But also, I will find Rafe Judkins.
And it's not just that she dies, it's that she dies and nobody cares, and that she dies in a book where she does nothing. Like, I think she's appear in like a few different POV, and every time she's just either kissing that dude that looks
and she dies because she doesn't stick with her man.
Exactly.
She doesn't stick with a man, and it's
only the dick will save you.
I know.
She's probably one of the smartest people in the world. Yes. Like she was the head of like the eyes and ears. She's known for tactical mind, and she does nothing.
Yeah.
I think the only way that the show could kill her off and it not be bury your gaze and it not be what happened in the books is one, keep them together.
Yeah.
Two, give us a lot more queer representation, like good, positive queer representation.
Yeah.
And have those characters not die.
Yeah.
Like if your only queer character is dying, obviously that's bury your gaze. But if
for sure,
if we've got several like I'm still gunning for a gay or bi Logain in the show.
That would be
and
great,
Galad.
honestly.
So I could see that I would be very unhappy with them doing it, but I could see them kill. I could see a path to killing Swan off, but not in an offensive way.
The thing is that Swan's death has no purpose.
No,
like it's literally no point in the book. It doesn't serve anything. So I think it would be something easy to change.
For sure.
And I think the only reason that they
not?
included it is because it's Min's viewing and they wanted to wrap that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe Min just doesn't have that viewing.
Exactly.
Or maybe, it's with other people. I have a bunch of theories of what could be changed regarding some of Swan's and Maureen's plotline and regarding the Tower of Genji. And because I also want, like, my dream would be Swan to be at the tower and be the one saving Maureen, and there would be Matt and someone else.
Yeah.
And for example,
and Tom dies.
Maybe Tom dies. That would be fun. But one thing that we were thinking about is, what if, for example, that viewing about Min of Swan having to stay close to someone instead of being Gareth, it would be Matt.
Yeah.
So, especially since they're two tactical minds, I think Matt and Swan would be absolutely hilarious together.
Right.
Like the friendship, kind of.
Would that be too close to like Matt and Birgitta, though?
Maybe, but
that's
a
relationship people love.
It is. That is true.
That is true. At the same time, it's hard. It's going to be so hard to say what's exactly going to happen because there's so many things happening to characters, but also there's some characters that don't do shit for books, and you have to manage all of those character arcs to still happen, but in a way that everyone has something to do at different time. So maybe some character won't be into plots.
I mean, just get rid of Jane Farstrider. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Who that is.
No.
I don't know whether they're gonna get rid of it because
that dude.
Yeah.
Tom 2.0.
Unnecessary.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, they can incorporate them in a different way.
For sure.
That's fine. But
yeah.
No, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you okay.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think I have hope for how Swan and Maureen are tackled on the show because Rafe has talked so lovingly about how, like how they have affected him and how, like, it's obvious that he cares a lot about that relationship. And so I have hope that it will be done well. Whatever happens between them on the show and going forward, I have hope that it will be done well.
I hope so.
I do trust Rafe in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's very little Rafe could do at this point to like betray the trust that I have in him.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything he could really do.
No.
That I believe he would do. Because honestly,
that is the key. Yeah.
Because if Swan dies at the end of the series or in the middle of the series, it will be the most heartbreaking thing that has ever happened. But he will do it so beautifully that I will hate him and love him equally.
Yeah.
I would hate him in any case. So anyway.
Yes. No, I mean, I think my biggest, and we have to touch on it explicitly, is the fact that they just don't have any kind of reconnection in the last battle.
It's terrible.
It's like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, it's bad enough they don't have a reconnection in the last battle with the main 14 books, but once you read New Spring, it goes from being, it's dumb to, oh my god, this is just insulting.
Yeah. Yes.
And especially considering how much the two of them parallel each other, in the sense that it's Moraine from a noble background, very used to the politics of Cairn, that ends up being the one traveling the world in the look for the Dragon Reborn, while you get Swan, who comes from a lower background, that Moraine always thought she would love to travel the world after becoming an Aes Sedai, who gets stuck in the tower and in the politics of the tower and becoming like the political part of their duo.
Honestly, if there is fanfic out there, I don't typically read that much fan fiction just because
I have so much recommendation to give you.
There's some good. If there's a good
Moraine and Suan conversation before the last battle, I just need to print that out, make it a new chapter in A Memory of Light.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that'll be what happened.
For sure.
For sure.
And I think they both, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they both die thinking that the other is dead. And so
Moraine doesn't die. They both think the other is long dead, yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's thank you. That's what I meant.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, if Moraine dies and I've missed that for the past 12 years, I'm going to leave and scream. And
can you imagine?
And Moraine's reaction to learning Swan's death is absolutely heartbreaking in the sense that she does not react.
Yeah.
And she uses, I think it's a caring thing. They say, I don't remember the exact phrasing, but it's like, take what you want and pay the price for it.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
I think the thing that like the show is doing really, really well is talking about future lives. So even if the terrible thing happens, there is a hope that like they've talked about meeting together in the next life. And you know what? That would be awesome. I would love that.
Yeah.
Because in the books, I don't really believe that that's going to happen at all.
Yeah.
Because it's the world, but it's never talked about.
Yeah.
So there was a last pillow friendship that we could mention, maybe briefly. So it's between Nicola and Arena. So Nicola is a novice of the rebuilt tower, and she becomes, at some point, she runs away to the Tower of Elida and becomes an accepted there. And Arena, she's not a channeler. She prefers to learn how to fight instead. And one thing that I learned while researching for that episode is that I did not know that Nicola had bonded Arena as a warrior. Because there's no place in the books that actually mentions it. It's only in the companions that we learn of that. And what we know too is that Nicola ends up dying in the Tel'aran'rhiod fight against Missana.
Yeah.
Which means Arena probably died too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt this beautiful moment, but can you please say Tel'aran'rhiod again?
Tel'aran'rhiod?
Oh, that just sounds sexy.
That sounds good.
I still can't pronounce it. Never read all those damn books.
I just say Tel'aran'rhiod because
Tel'aran'rhiod, yeah.
I say Tel'aran'rhiod.
I mean, you're also one that thought it was Bridget for like until like 3 months ago.
I thought it was Brigitte.
Look.
At first I did too.
Okay, thank you. I'm not alone. Kat also thought it was Bridget.
Lots of people did.
Yeah.
It was just I got to watch
3 months ago.
I got to watch your reaction in real time when you learned it was Brigitte, and that it was a very special moment for me. Because you muted your mic, and I could see you mouthing it. Brigitte. And then just like this utmost confusion on your face. Brigitte?
Well, it's not as bad as when I learned that you don't pronounce the E at the end of Cimarog's name. Because I was pronouncing Cimaragi. And I got laughed at. Because we Southerners, we pronounce all the vowels.
Do you want to know how I pronounce it?
How do you pronounce it?
Semiraj.
That's how I pronounce it too.
I pronounce
the G. Cimaraj.
Anyway.
Cimarog. We're gonna have an entire episode just for pronunciation.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
oh my
please,
God.
let's do that.
That'll be a fun episode.
The only thing I wanted to say, because we still need to keep going, is that it's fucked up that the only time we get a female we get a female channeler bonding a female warder on purpose is Nicola and Arena, and they both die.
Yeah.
I want female warders.
Give us female warders. We deserve female warders.
And non-binary warders. Give me all of the gender warders.
All of them.
What was the term that Rafe used in that video? I think it was ungendered.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Non-gender.
I am taking that and running with it.
I
it's like,
was just
like, I am the ungendered.
I would totally bond ravens and possums to be my warders.
What?
I don't think you can bond animals, Matt.
Maybe you could. Ravens are smart. Ravens are really smart.
You don't know? Maybe.
Did you know that the average raven is smarter than your average Trump voter?
I believe that.
You could
By
really
like a lot?
By a lot, yes. And you could. There goes one of our listeners. Fuck you, anyways.
Oh, bye.
Bye. Bye, bitch.
Why were you here in the first place?
We're on in the other third episode. If you're still there, why?
Exactly.
Stupid Dan. His name is Dan. Because of course it is.
Oh, Dan.
So just to come back on those pure friendship. Yeah, because I'm trying to finish that goddamn episode.
It's like, let me rein this in.
Let me just finish that. Conclusion is that we have 260 named Aes Sedai. We get 10 women that are considered in a pedo friendship. 5 of those women end up with men or are known to only look for relationship with men after being raised. 2 die. And another 2, because 5 and 2 and 5, that doesn't make 10. And another 2 are blatantly using their past relationship for politics. So it's not just crumbs of representation. This is some crumbs taken off a moldy month-old wet bread.
Yeah.
It's just nasty.
It's nasty.
It's nasty.
And I know that we're just talking about pillow friends as representation here, but there really isn't even enough material to have an episode dedicated to men and to non-Aes Sedai women.
Yeah.
Like we have that one character whose name I can't remember in
that Lord.
Yeah, at the very end of the series. And then in New Spring, one of the new Amarylline seats ejects all the men, and it's noted that she even ejects the men who are not interested in women, and that is like the only time we get any mention. Of queer men.
Because of the squick factor.
The squick factor.
But don't worry, Matt. We will still have an episode on male homosexuality because we can find it and we're going to find it and then we're going to petition Rafe in order to add it to the show.
So, Matt and Galad.
Yeah.
You know what? Make it happen.
I am all for it.
Matt and Galad would round each other out so well.
Yeah.
I bet they would.
Ooh. Yeah, they would.
Oh, James. Oh.
Yo, James.
So,
Camille, please save us from this.
He's like, okay, let me.
Do you want
once again
to do the game?
What's the game?
Ooh.
Is it still Igloo-Bond Balefire?
Yes, because I prepared. We have 3 parts for that episode, so I prepared 3.
Okay, we did the women first last time, so let's do the women first again this time because that's fun.
Okay. I don't think any of my trio are still as funny as that time, but in this female trio, the name is Woman of Legends.
Oh.
Can you guys guess who's that maybe?
Are we doing
Birgit
some
Silverbow?
Yes, there's Birgit.
Oh.
And there's
Anla, the wise counselor?
No, but this is Birgitta. This is Eldwin, the Queen of Malison.
Yeah.
And Latra Posae Decume.
Right, that's the name I was trying to think of.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wait, what's the name again?
Latra Posae.
Latra. Got it. Okay.
Latra.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who are these characters? I only recognize Brigitte.
That's like, what?
So, Elissa, what is her name from Manetheren?
Eldrin. Queen Eldrin.
Queen Eldrin.
Okay.
Eldrin, the one that sacrificed herself after her man died on the battlefield in Manetheren.
Okay.
That's the one.
And then Patra is it?
Latra.
No. Patra.
Latra is the woman who talks to Lutherin Telemon on the cold open of episode 8.
She was the equivalent. She was Luz Theron's equivalent.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Okay.
I mean, I would just go ahead, Matt.
I would bond Brigitte because she's the only character I know, and I kind of like her. I mean, it could be a sexless marriage, James. You know?
No, they can't see my face. They can't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, James is making a face. I'm like, Brigitte can get some little Maddie Coffin tang on the side, and I would do my own thing. And so I'd bond her. I guess Eldrin, like, if you're really gonna like base your entire personality off your husband dying, like, what good are you anyway? So I'm gonna balefire her.
Ooh.
And Petra,
offensive.
You seem like you're kind of cool, so I guess we bone or igloo or whatever. So that's it.
Okay.
James.
I kind of agree with Matt's reasoning. I don't know enough about Eldrine, so I would definitely balefire her. And also, I agree that little bit where she's like, oh no, I'm not getting the dick anymore. Gotta blow up the world. Like, I get it. I respect it. But at the same time, you're going to get balefired. However, I would bone Birgitta because I think that would be a lot of fun. She would show me a very good time. But she is way too high maintenance to be with. Like, she would be exhausting. So I would bone her, igloo her, and then I would bond Latra Pose Decume because honestly, I love a boss bitch and I would do whatever she wanted.
Kat, do you want to go?
Okay. So I would bone Brigitte because, she would show me a good time. I'm fairly confident in that. So, igloo Brigitte, and then see Eldrine. I have a slightly different take on her. That's a loyal ass bitch.
Could you fix her?
I mean, that's a loyal ass bitch. She was like, "Oh, okay.
Good point.
You're gonna do this? Well, here we go. Fuck you."
Good point.
And yeah, I like loyalty, so I would bond Eldrine, and then I would balefire Latra because I feel like she didn't try hard enough with Lutheran. I don't think she tried hard enough with him. So,
You know what? That's okay. That is a very good point about loyalty.
Yeah.
I want someone to blow themselves up after I die.
Yeah. I mean, that's the dream, right? That's what everyone wants, right?
That's the goal.
That's the goal,
right? That's the relationship goal.
It's the relationship standard, I would say.
So on my side, I would actually igloo Edrine. Mostly because I feel like in any Manician story we hear about, they keep repeating how pretty that woman is. And I'm like, okay, show me that. I kind of want to... I have a doubt. I'm going to be offensive and balefire Birgitta. Because in any case, she's dead. She's going to be back in the horn, so she doesn't care.
No, she's balefired.
No, because then she's gone.
No, that doesn't affect that. Your soul still exists with Balefire. Yes, I had checked that because I wasn't sure. It's the reason why the Shaitan cannot resurrect for second who has been Balefire is because they are taken out of time, but that doesn't mean their soul is destroyed.
Oh.
And the Shaitan cannot step out of time. I have the
receipts on this.
I have the receipt because I had asked myself the same question regarding Balefire. And I would bond Latra Poseidon because I actually, in order to actually know what the hell is she doing at that time, I'm curious about the background. I want more information. I want the data, and I feel like bonding her would be a good way to get the data.
So for you're wanting to bang her for investigative purposes?
No, to bond.
Oh, to bond. Oh, okay. Oh, even more interesting. Okay.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Okay. The Mentio is, I called it Don't You Forget About Me.
I love these titles so much.
It is really good.
And it's basically about those random characters that you thought would only appear once, and then they appear multiple times. So you have Basil Gil, the innkeeper in Camelin. You have the famous Amel Bunt, which is the farmer that basically ran toward Camelin, and then he comes again at some point with his a field of palm tree. I don't remember what the name of that. And there's Bale Doman, famous Bale Doman.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
None of them are my type, but I'll have to think about this.
I mean, you're talking, I'm gay, so I'm sorry to say that, but none of them is going to be my time.
Me and Kimmy are like,
I might go straight for these women.
I'm trying to remember who Almond
Who's the first one?
is Basil Gill.
It's a farmer with a bunch of apples at some point that Rand comes in, and then suddenly, like, the tree are making fruits again, something like that.
Oh, right. Okay.
And also, didn't you reread The Eye of the World recently?
I did, and that's why the name sounded familiar. I just didn't remember when he came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have my answer. So I would Balefire Almond Blunt, or whatever the hell his name is, farm dude, because he was kind of mean to his daughters, I think. And he dies in the show, so, you know, he's dead in all the turnings.
He wasn't in the show, so he doesn't die in the show.
Oh, I thought he was in the show. Anyways, I'd kill him. He doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, that's fine.
I would igloo Basil Gill and just close my eyes and get it over with.
Good Lord.
As far as... So Bael Doman has a great personality, and he's loyal, and I like him, so I'd marry him, but wouldn't let him touch me. I just, like, make him give me pretty things, and he could, like, hold my hand every once in a while.
You deserve to be Balefired. Holy Lord, you are cruel. You can get down with, like, fucking Galena, but the idea of Basil Gill, or the, like, I don't get you.
Galena's hot.
Unfortunately correct.
I would igloo Bael Doman because I would need several weeks of recovery afterwards, because you know he's going to get sand in all the places that you don't want him to get sand. And there's going to be some splinters, and I'm going to need some healing. I would also kill Balefire Almond Bunt because I don't really give a shit about him. But then I would marry Basil Gill because, you know what? He is a loyal and down-to-earth person that I could sit in the library with, and his cook would feed. Yeah, his cook would give us food. He would just be there at the end of the day. He would say, "Yes, honey, I know your day was hard. I'm sorry you had to deal with Matt. I know it's difficult." And he would just listen. And I like that. Matt Cawthon, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Of course.
You knew what you were doing, bitch. You knew what you was doing.
Kat, do you wanna go?
My answers are actually the exact same as James. I would igloo Bael. Yeah, I think you know, if I had to choose a guy, I suppose. And Basil Gill, I would he would, I think he would be such a good husband. He would be so, like you said, he would be very, very comforting, very loving. You know, I like to be nice and comfy. I'm a homebody. He would treat me right.
And I'm way out of his league. So like he would appreciate.
Yes.
He would appreciate.
And to
see,
me,
I like my husband's
good
feral.
food. Good food. You like that feral side in people, huh?
Chaos energy.
Yeah. And then I don't even remember the name of the other guy, but I'm gonna
just Balefire him.
I'm gonna Balefire him, unfortunately. Sorry to this man.
Face.
I don't know this man.
I don't know this man. I will not miss this man.
I will not miss this man. Sorry to this man.
I mean, if it was a fuck, marry, kill, maybe I would marry a Melbourne, because if all of you are Balefire aim, it shouldn't last long, so I could get at least whatever farm he has. But if it's bonding, then I would die.
Oh my goodness!
You're just looking for the coin. Ooh. I love
that. So in that case, since it's a bonding and I cannot survive a death of water, well, I could. Would I be willing to go through the pain?
You're like, no, I wasn't actually that attached. I
could do it.
Technically, you can survive the death of your water.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
So maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna be very basic. Like Basil Gill, he has good food. That's what I need, and I don't like being on a boat. So either Almond Boat or Bael Doman can just be by fire. It's fine.
Yeah. the most important part is you get to marry Basil Gill. That's the you get to bond Basil Gill.
Yes.
For the food.
Oh wait, it was shit. I kind of marry abandoned. Yeah, I don't know. I would get the food. I need to bond Basil Gill for the food. Indeed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then it would be igloo Beldemont, because I'm not gonna igloo with Amandot.
There you
Except
go.
if you backfire him before I get to igloo him.
Girl, you are putting way too much thought into this.
Yeah, I checked out like 10 minutes ago.
So that's gonna be the end of it, right?
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Queers of Time podcast. If you liked our show and want to hang out with us a little bit more, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Queers of Time, as well as our website, queersoftime.com, and our Discord server. If you're able, we'd love to have your support through Patreon. These help us cover the costs associated with producing the podcast and make it a little easier for us to get queer content to you on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. This was Queers of Time, a Wheel of Time podcast. The music is Dance of the Witches by Julius H.